We are Steve and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2066, and it's Wednesday. We're talking about, well, does adding mobile homes or houses to your already existing land business make you money? Yes. The answer has been yes all week this week, and it will be tomorrow and Friday also. But there's issues. There are things that may or may not be acceptable to you as an investor, and we'll cover what those are today. This week, all week, we're talking about what works and what doesn't in your land business. Today's Wednesday, we're talking about mobile homes. Thursday, tomorrow, we're talking about the 5 types of land that you should be flipping and where to do it in the country. And then Friday, we're going to have a real candid conversation, Jill and I, about why and how we've kept food on the table flipping land. The truth is, we know how to do it now, but back in the day, it was a pretty huge learning curve. You remember that?
Mm-hmm, I do.
Each day on the show, we answer a question from the Land Academy member Discord forum and take a deep dive into land-related topics by popular request.
Okay.
Let's take a question, Joe.
Mike wrote, how many mailers do I need to send out to get one land transaction?
I don't know. This is an age-old question. We had Career Path, the second installment of Career Path yesterday, and we had some very experienced people on there, and they were asked that question by some newer people in Career Path, and they said 3,000. They send out 3,000 a month to complete one transaction, which I think that number, that's probably pretty close to what our number is, but you should never use that for yourself. If you're brand new, it's going to be closer to 10,000. And I want it to be intentionally 10,000 because I want you to make sure you pick the best transaction possible so you can win. And then as time goes on, your yield, it's called mailer yield, will hopefully go down. I'm not a big fan of calculating mailer yield. We stopped doing it many years ago, at least a decade ago, because what happens is you send a bunch of mail out. It's some number, might be 3,000, might be 23,000. You get a bunch of deals back, and you start loading up your bank account. And that's the truth. And so now I don't care. I know that the mailer costs, I spend $5,000 or $6,000 on mail a month, or whatever the numbers end up being. And I know we have revenue coming in of 30, 40, 50, 80, 150. Just a lot more comes in than goes out. And so mailer efficiency is always and always will be a huge topic with people who are new, which I understand because they don't want to spend a lot of money for nothing. But if you follow the way that we do it, it's going to work. What do you think about this topic, Joe? Like, what's your reaction when, because we've answered this question hundreds and hundreds of times, you and I.
It just, it varies so much. It depends on who's answering the phone, too. There's so many variables that go into mailer yield. It's crazy. Is it going to voicemail? Is it going to Pat Live? Is it you? How responsive are you? So I also, too, I think people look at mailer yield as a transaction that goes all the way to the end. But what about the 50 people that called you back that day that it hit? That's mailer yield too. So you got to really look at that. And if all 50 people call you back are hot and you're in Hawaii for 2 weeks and then you get back to them and you don't get a deal, they all move on, whatever, they all lose interest, then I'm going to argue that was you. So the mailer did its thing. You didn't follow through. So you could see there's lots of variables that go into that. The
people that we have that are real successful at this, that are in Land Academy Pro. Land Academy Pro is a product Jill and I launched a while ago where we allow certain people to use our staff so they don't have to go out and get their own transaction coordinators and all that. And we charge them for it. And we all get together and talk. And they all have one thing in common. They just are relentless on the phone. True. There's nobody in that group that I can say, wow, they're so good at pricing. That pricing and mailer yield and things like that are concerns of new people, which I understand. I'm not knocking it. But when you get to after 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 deals, all we talk about is how are you handling this situation with the seller? We don't talk about Excel or all the stuff that I do is relatively insignificant. It's necessary. It's necessary to do it and do it consistently. But all I'm doing is supporting Jill and what Jill does on the phone with the sellers.
Thank you.
So how many mailers do I send out? That's the question, to get one deal. You can't split test it.
well, how about this? See how it goes. You're going to watch your mailer yield increase as you keep doing this and get better.
That's it.
Number one. And then number two, if you're not getting the deals you want, send out more mail and look at all those other things.
And get better at
you
what
have
Jill
to adjust.
does. Yeah.
You have to adjust.
Today's topic, adding mobile homes and houses. Does it make your land, make you more money in your land business? Heck yes. Here's the deal. When you send out an offer campaign and price it to buy mobile homes and or houses, it's very easy to price houses and mobile homes. It's very precise and fast. And we have a product called Smart Pricing, where line by line it gets priced through all kinds of algorithms. So this business of pricing a mailer goes away entirely. These are the differences between mobile homes and houses, and then land. Mobile homes and houses I put them in the same category because they're generally the same when you do the deal, and I'll explain. So it's way easier to do a mailer and faster, and pricing is very, very accurate, number one. Number two, once you get the mail out, so my job's way easier when we buy mobile homes and houses. Once the thing gets out, we have to send out a lot more mail because people who own houses or mobile homes in general are pretty aware of what their property's worth. And so does it stop us from buying them? No. But you need to know, they're coming from places where their sister-in-law is a real estate agent and they're telling them how much their house is worth, for better or for worse. There's all kinds of dynamics that Jill has to deal with once they pick up the phone and call her and say, I got your letter and I do want to sell my house, but, and so she's got to deal with that. We probably send 2 to 3 times more mail out to get one of these transactions because of that. Number 3, once everybody agrees on a price that they want to sell it and we want to buy it, we have to now go to work to review that asset to see if it's okay. Buying a piece of land, you check to see if it's in a floodplain, you check to see if it has access. You spend maybe 20 or 30 minutes seeing if you want to buy it, to go through the due diligence period. That's not the case with a house or a mobile home. The physical asset matters. And it's very inefficient for me or Jill, the business owners, to personally go do that. So you got to orchestrate. You have to orchestrate inspections and concrete and decide, is the actual physical asset viable for me flipping it and it's in its same condition without any improvements. That's the only way we do this. A lot of time is spent on the actual asset. With land, no time is spent on it. We would always say in the land business, if you're leaving your desk, you're losing money. It's inefficient. And that's just not the case with houses. There's a lot of extra work that goes on. However, when it passes all your tests, the physical asset's good and the economics work, your sale time and the saleability of the asset from a risk standpoint are amazing. All the house deals and mobile home deals, I don't think we've ever owned one of those assets for more than a week.
Can I add, we also pick the right areas too, because I was just thinking about one that came up again. It was presented to me this week as a deal funding deal, and I'm like, he wanted to buy it for $32,000 and thinks you could sell it for, I don't know, 100 or something. And I'm looking at it. We got the inspection back. I'm looking at the photos. I'm looking with the agent. And then I'm really digging into what's going on in the area. And there's nothing happening in that area. It was real. I'm saying, look, here's the scoop. In its heyday, that would be a good mobile home deal. So it ties to what you're saying, but it also has to be a move-in area. And so I said, this area has nothing. There's no sales supporting anything. They're really low. Like, I can find a mobile that's sold for less than $20,000.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, because that's that area. So we know how to pick the areas that start with the trolling. So when it comes in, yeah, everything is true. But I just want to make sure you know that not every mobile home is going to fly off the shelf.
Yeah.
So what I had to go back and say, look, I'm super sorry. And I don't mean to insult anybody, but I had to value this as a land deal, and that's it. And this is a perk. So I said, we're talking less than $10,000 that I would pay for this.
Yeah, I glossed over that in the beginning. Thank you for bringing that up. Mm-hmm. It's got to pass the red, green, yellow test. It's got to pass. You have to price it correctly, and that sounds to me like that the area didn't pass the red, green, yellow test.
Well, here's the reason why. The person didn't mail for that.
Oh.
That's the thing, is you have to watch out for that.
Oh.
So the person came back with, I don't want to sell this, but I do want to get rid of this. That's how it all started. And that's how I got pulled in, because the person's like, I don't know this area and I don't even know mobiles. And so I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do here. And so at the end, and the good news is I'm sure I really educated and helped that person. So that I'm good with that. So now they know, like, okay, got it, noted.
So to summarize, if you're trying to make $100,000 on a land deal, it's going to be a lot of upfront work, a lot of pricing, a lot of jack type work. You're going to send out a rational amount of mail, and your Jill, if hopefully it's you or somebody else, is going to convert those would-be deals into money. And it's a little bit riskier on the sell side because there's more unknowns. It's a little bit riskier from a pricing standpoint because there's unknowns. With mobiles and houses, there's very few unknowns in the marital process and very few unknowns in value and all those things and risk. But your due diligence process and your boots on the ground effort, but actually getting hands and eyes on the physical asset is imperative. So you have to choose what you like. Some people like to work with their hands. I don't. I like to hit the keyboard. Some people like to talk on the phone. Jill does. I don't. Neither one of us really enjoy walking through a house or a mobile home at all when it comes to this, unless it's our own house. And then I have another story about Jill.
Don't go there.
Join us tomorrow where we discuss, well, it's Thursday, we're going to talk about the 5 types of land that you should be flipping and where in the country to do it. You are not alone in your real estate ambition. We are Jack and Jill. Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.